Beh, quindi
Later.
ah, sì, അവന് പറ്റേ
No consider.
అమ్మాయి వెళ్ళిపోయింది పక్కన నుంచి డ్రాయి ఏం చేస్తాడు రండి ఒకట ఉంది ఇది కలుపు చేయగలరు ఉప్పు చేయించుకునేది అంటారా ఒకసారి ఇస్తున్నాడు అక్కడ నాకు
Two and a half hours.
తినేసినవా నువ్వు ఊరుకుండి కొంచెం పెద్ద ఉంది
Hi, whoever is live, please send a Pongaba. Now I will let me do my work properly. In 1823, the cattle belonging to the Kamits, Sayanas, and Thotus, or headmen of Parganas in the hills, and the Padhans, or headmen of villages in the Bhabar, and those belonging to permanent residents were exempted from these dues. In 1826, the boundary between the hills and Rohilkhand was finally arranged, and separate farms for the grazing dues were established. The principle on which the collections were made was that the farmer within whose jurisdiction the cattle pens were situated was entitled to collect the tax. The dues were very rarely collected per head, the plan being to count in each goat or cattle pen the agals or donas, that is, the wooden bars to which the cattle were tied at night. The customary rate was to consider each agal as containing 8 buffaloes and 8 cows liable to a tax of 2 rupees. The first attempt at forest reservation appears to have been made in 1826 when, on the recommendation of Mr. Trail, a proclamation was issued prohibiting the cutting of sal on all the taplas or flats immediately adjoining the lower ranges along the whole extent of the Bhabar. These areas, which may be considered the first reserves in Kumaon, were excluded from the leases of forest produce referred to above. No other steps in the direction of forest conservancy were undertaken. The denudation of trees of all species appears to have continued steadily. It reached a climax between the years 1855 and 1861 when the demands of the railways for sleepers attracted numerous contractors to this region. These men had uncontrolled liberty to cut where and how they pleased, with the result that large number of trees were felled and for want of transport were left to rot in the forests. To such an extent was this reckless felling carried on during this period that for several years after, the control of the forests was taken in hand by the commissioner. The energy of the officials was occupied in extracting the dead timber thus left by the railway contractors. Fortunately, the gravity of the situation was noticed in 1861 by the commissioner, then Major Ramsay, and he took prompt and energetic steps to stop the further denudation of the forests and to place the management of this valuable state property on a sounder and more permanent footing. The farming of leases and the indiscriminate felling of trees was stopped. Forest officers a system of conservancy was begun, under which all trees considered fit for felling were first by forest officials, and fire conservancy was started. The result of the new regime was a greatly increased forest revenue, as we find that the surplus during the decade 1859 to 1868 was nearly 7 lakhs of rupees, giving an average annual surplus of rupees 70,000. In 1868, the forests were first placed under the control of officers of the Forest Department. Major Pearson was appointed the first forest conservator, and the forests were gazetted as government forests on the 5th September 1877. During the period 1869 to 1880, the average annual revenue from these forests was rupees 2,19,252. Kumaon Forest Division. The Kumaon Forest Division originally included some of the forests of the present Garhwal Forest Division and extended from the Sarda River on the east to the boundary of the Garhwal district on the west. This tract, which was subdivided into 12 blocks, was first gazetted as a government forest under the provisions of Section 2 of Act 8 of 1865 by notification number 407 FC dated 5th September 1877.
Karthik
The
Raja.
reserve thus formed consisted of the most
Ikkada.
important.
Hi Karthik Raja. I'm preparing for civil services with sociology as optional. Suggest some books for basic understanding. Okay, Karthik, just give me 2 minutes. கார்த்திக் ஒரு 2 minutes கொடுங்க. ஈவினிங் ஸ்நாக்ஸ் சாப்பிட்டுட்டு இருக்கேன். ஒரு 2 minutes கொடுங்க. Karthik Raja. Yes, sir. Thank you, Karthik. Okay. Civil services with sociology.
ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಾ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ
ఒక బాగా పొల్లంగా ఏంటి ఆయన టైం అయిపోయింది వీటికి.
ఏంటి పుల్లగా అయింది ఇది ఇందులో
చాలా రోజులు ఉండే కదా. అట్లా
అవును 4 నెలలు వీడికి తెచ్చేది 6 నెలలు అయిపోయిందా భూములు వచ్చినప్పుడు దానికి తెచ్చుంటా నాకు ఇచ్చే 2 నెలలు నెల అప్పుడప్పుడు ఉన్నా ఉంటాను గుర్తుంటే గుర్తులేని రోజులే ఆరేందట అన్నీ వేసేసినావు కదా
Welcome to NC Music World. Bluetooth mode. Connected.
ஓகே, கார்த்திக் ராஜா. கார்த்திக் ராஜா எங்க இருக்கீங்க? ஐம் பேக். கார்த்திக் ராஜா லைன்ல இருக்கீங்க அப்படின்னா ஹாய் சொல்லுங்க. ஹாய் சொல்லுங்க. ஹாய் அமிச்சிங்கன்னா தெரியும் எனக்கு. கடைசியா ஒரு எஸ்ஆர் சொல்லியிருக்கீங்க. கார்த்திக் ராஜா இருக்கீங்களா? கார்த்திக் ராஜா இருக்கீங்கன்னா ஒரு ஹாய் சொல்லுங்க. சாரி, கார்த்திக் ராஜா இல்லைன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஹலோ கார்த்திக் ராஜா. கார்த்திக் ராஜா சார் வணக்கம். ஐ எம் preparing for civil services exam with sociology as optional. Suggest some books for basic understanding. Okay. Karthik Raja. Hello. Hello, my dear member. கார்த்திக் ராஜா இல்லைன்னு நினைக்கிறேன் லைன்ல. கார்த்திக் ராஜா இல்ல, ஹாய் சொல்லுங்க. பட் ஹாய் வரமாட்டேங்குது.
Sand forests on the lower hills in the Bhabar, exclusive of the iron company's grant, and some tracts containing good khair, acacia catechu, and shisha, that is Dalbergia sissu forests. The total area of the blocks which lie in the present Kumaon Forest Division was, according to the reservation of 1877, 674.5 square miles, of which 290.57 square miles were open to the exercise of recorded rights, leaving an unburdened area of 384 square miles of state forests. On the passing of the Indian Forest Act 8 of 1878, it was necessary to reclassify and regazette existing state forests into reserved and protected forests. The conservator, in consultation with the commissioner and district officers, gave up 38.67 square miles of the forests gazetted in 1877, and the remaining area of 635.83 square miles was gazetted as reserved forests under Section 34 of the Act by Notification number 173F, dated 26th February 1879. At the same time, Colonel Garston redemarcated 290.57 square miles of these reserves for the exercise of recorded rights which he tabulated. The reserves open to the exercise of rights were demarcated by means of round numbered pillars, while the boundaries of the reserves are generally well defined by means of square numbered pillars. The villagers living near the forests were given very liberal rights of pasture, timber, and forest produce generally. As the forests of the division increased in area and became too extensive for their charge, the portions to the west of the Dabka River were transferred to the Garwan Forest Division, and some of the hill forests west of the Katgodam were made over to the Nainital Forest Division, so that on the 1st July 1901, the area of the Kumaon Division was 510 square miles, of which 277 square miles are open to the exercise of recorded rights and 233 square miles are free of rights. Ranges and blocks. The division as now constituted is divided into 8 ranges and blocks. Each range is in charge of a ranger or deputy ranger, while forest guards are in charge of 2 or more blocks. The ranges lying within the Almora district are 3 in number: the Dogari, Saranadi, and Sarda. Their total area amounts to 186.5 square miles. The forests are situated on the Babar and on the hills overlooking it. The Babar forests are divided into 2 classes: the sal producing areas and the Sisham and Khair forests on the old alluvial deposits. The hill forests comprise those situated at altitudes not exceeding 3,000 feet, where sal is the dominant species, with an admixture of sine, haldu, and others, and those at a greater elevation containing chiefly the cher pine and oaks. The whole of the Saranadi range consists of hill forest, while the Sarda and Dogari ranges are composed of both hill and plains forests in almost equal proportions. Working plans and present system of management. From 1880 to 1896, the forest revenues were collected by what was known as the Chowki system, under which 2 parallel series of outposts were established. At the upper, all dues were realized and passes issued. The passes were checked at the lower line of Chowkis. During the first portion of this period, from 1880 to 1885, the felling of trees was regulated by annual plans of operations, in which were detailed the areas to be worked over, the number of trees to be felled, and the various works of improvements to be undertaken during the year. The first regular working plan framed by Mr. Hurley for the Nandur forests came into operation in the year 1886, and in it, fellings were prescribed for the 10-year period 1887 to 1896. This plan, however, only continued in force till 1893, as in 1894 a new working plan was prepared by Mr. Beeden Bryant for all the forests of the division, and this is still in force. Mr. Bryant's working plan divided the division into 10 working circles. His hill circle contains the whole of the Saranadi and the hill portion of the Sarda range already noted. These forests are generally inaccessible, and the cost of extracting the produce is therefore prohibitive. It is laid down accordingly that these forests are for the present to be preserved fillings being permitted only to right holders and to government officials. The greater portion of the Dogari range and a few blocks of the other Almora ranges produce sal. These are treated on what is technically known as the selection method. That is to say, the mature exploitable trees are removed in quantities as nearly as possible equal to the number of immature trees which may be expected to come to perfection within the period of operations. 6 feet is taken as the girth at which the sal in these forests may be considered exploitable, and it is calculated that a tree attains this girth at the age of 150 years. One block of the Sardar range, Kakrali, contains mixed forest, chiefly Khair and Haldu. Khair with a girth of 4 feet and Haldu with a girth of 7 feet 6 inches are considered mature. It was prescribed that the fellings should follow a combination of the selection and improvement systems. With regard to bamboos, it was considered that to open and close blocks in alternate years and at the same time to prohibit the cutting of the immature shoots of the year would provide sufficient protection and ensure a permanent and healthy growth of bamboos. Fire protection was introduced in 1876, and by 1901, about 65% of the entire area of the division was protected. The operations are facilitated by a well-devised and complete system of fire lines, 100 feet and 50 feet in width, according to the exigencies of the case. The forest officials state that the people do not resent fire protection, having discovered the quality of the fodder grass improves thereby, while the other numerous forest products by which they make a living in the cold weather months have greatly increased. The benefit to the forest is evident in the dense thickets of poles, saplings, and seedlings which have come up in the old ruined forests. Climber cutting. The luxuriance of vegetable growth in the semi-tropical forests of the foothills is perhaps most noticeable among the larger parasites, chief among which is the gigantic elephant creeper Bahinia wahli. To such dimensions do these vegetable pests attain that a single elephant creeper with its spreading limbs, like some vegetable octopus, will sometimes cover the tops of the trees over a quarter of an acre of densely grown forest. The suppression and extermination of these natural enemies to tree growth is therefore one of the most important points of forest conservancy and one of the chief factors in the future well-being of a timber producing area. Regular creeper cutting operations were begun in 1887-88 in the Nandhor and Calonia working circles, and these have been systematized and enlarged in the present working plans so as to embrace all the forests which are being worked under the selection or improvement method of treatment. Present proposals. Proposals for the revision of Mr. Bryant's working plan are being considered. The forests have undoubtedly improved in condition as a result of past good management and fire protection. It has been observed, however, that when chir is associated with sal, fire protection is beginning unduly to favor the chir. With regard to khair, it is probable that trees of 4 feet girth and over are less suitable for the catechu industry than trees of smaller girth. The period allowed by Mr. Bryant in the bamboo blocks for recuperation is probably too short, and it is now proposed to work only one-third of the total area annually. With respect to sal, it is proposed to continue the selection system and to bring portions of the hill circle within the sphere of operations, while in the Bhabar sal working circle, the introduction of the uniform method is advocated. Before this can be done, it will be necessary to divide the forest by a series of conversion fillings into a number of blocks containing a homogeneous forest crop.
Okay, okay. Okay. Files located. Videos. Video editor 26.89. So 26.89. கார்த்திக் ராஜா, நான் ஸ்நாக்ஸ் சாப்பிட முடியறதுக்குள்ள நீங்க ஸ்நாக்ஸ் சாப்பிட கிளம்பிட்டீங்களா? எங்க போனீங்கன்னு தெரியல. ஹாய் சொன்னீங்க. சிவில் சர்வீசஸ்க்கு சோஷியாலஜி புக்ஸ் ரெஃபர் பண்ண சொன்னீங்க. நானும் சொல்லலாம்னு ஆர்வமா இருந்தேன். கார்த்திக் ராஜா எங்க போயிட்டீங்க? கார்த்திக் ராஜா எங்கே போயிட்டீங்க? கார்த்திக் ராஜா எங்கே போயிட்டீங்க? ஓகே, 25% 4B 26 என்னென்னமோ ஃபைல் நேம் இருக்குது. கார்த்திக் ராஜா போயிட்டீங்களே. கார்த்திக் ராஜா 4 minutes. 5 hours video. 100 pages. 5 hours. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours video. ஓகே கார்த்திக் ராஜா நீங்க வரல, எனக்கு ஒரு சின்ன ஒர்க் இருக்கு. சாரி, ஐ ஹாவ் டு எண்ட். கார்த்திக் ராஜா லைவ்ல வந்திருக்கீங்களா? நீங்க தான் லைவ்ல வந்திருக்கீங்கன்னா ஒரு ஹாய் சொல்லுங்க. லைவ் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கிறது நீங்க தான் அப்படின்னா ஒரு ஹாய் சொல்லுங்க. இல்லை அப்படின்னா பாய் சொல்லிடுறேன். நான் போக வேண்டி இருக்கு. ஒரு சின்ன ஒர்க்கு, இந்த மொபைல்ல ஒரு சின்ன ஒர்க் பண்ண வேண்டி இருக்கு. யூடியூப்ல ஒரு சின்ன ஒர்க் பண்ண வேண்டி இருக்கு. அதனால நான் எக்ஸிட் ஆக போகிறேன். ஐம் வெரி சாரி, வேற வழி இல்லை. Going to exit. இன்னும் ஒரு நிமிஷம் பார்ப்போம். கார்த்திக் ராஜாக்காக 39 minutes ஆயிருக்கு. 40th minute கட் பண்ணிடலாம். கார்த்திக் ராஜா, I'm preparing for civil services with sociology as optional. Suggest some books for basic understanding. $39, $40, $41, $42, $43, $44, $45, $48, $49, $50, $51, $52, $53, $54, $55, $56, $57, $59, $60. Okay, I'll close. Sorry.